Welcome once again to SoCo Chat, a podcast where we hear directly from county leaders, discuss the latest news, and talk about all things concerning our beautiful corner of California known as Sonoma County.
Welcome back to SoCo Chat. I'm your host, Matt Brown, Deputy Communications Manager for the County of Sonoma. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're continuing our series highlighting nonprofits that are making an impact in the community, and one of the most impactful organizations that Sonoma County is lucky to have is the Living Room. This Santa Rosa nonprofit is a lifeline for women and their children during times of housing insecurity and urgent need. The Living Room provides support, food, and a safe space where women and children can access safety, support, and stability. In short, it's a haven for women and children as well as their pets, with nowhere else to turn. Here to talk about what the Living Room does and how they do it is their executive director, Alethea Larson. But before we get to our interview, I want to start with our trivia question. Our question today is, where was the Living Room first located when it started? If you know, call us at 707-565-2242 or email us at publicaffairs@sonomacounty.gov. If you are correct, you'll be entered into our weekly drawing for a chance to win a SoCo Chat coffee mug. And with that, let's get on with our discussion. Welcome, Alethea.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. We know the Living Room does great work, but there's a lot of people in the community who might not know what the Living Room does. Can you just start by telling us what the Living Room does and how you do it?
Yes. The Living Room actually is the only place in Northern California where a woman, child, and their pet can come inside during the daytime for safety, basic human needs. And it actually started because there was that need happening in this community. Women and children didn't have a safe place to come inside, and that was back in 1993. And today, our iteration really looks like 3 programs that we provide: food services, drop-in center, and a housing program. Our housing program, we can house up to 50 women, children, and their pets at a time. And then food services, we supply about 60,000 meals a year to our community, largely women and children, youth, and seniors who are food insecure and may be housed or unstably housed. And then in our drop-in center, this format has really evolved over time, but it is a true drop-in center where we help women navigate services that they need, community, safety, and with the help of around 80 other community partners that help at the center.
Wow, that's great. So you do a lot of great work, it sounds. Yeah. Well, I understand you're trying to keep families with their pets housed together. Why is that so important?
Yeah, actually, what we have discovered is that there are women, families, children who will choose to stay in an unsafe environment, be it their abuser's environment, cars, or other unsafe situations, to make sure that their pets stay with them because they are their family members. And there are a lot of shelters out there that are not able to take pets. And so they're choosing these unsafe situations. And the Living Room just doesn't believe that they should have to make that choice. And we've made a real commitment to be pet friendly everywhere with the help of one of our partners, Ruthless Kindness. And it has been an incredible experience, really. And it's not as heavy of a lift, I think, as others might think. So in short, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Why wouldn't you keep them together with pets, and they're part of their family as well, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the bigger impact to the community. How does stabilizing women, children, and their pets, how does that ripple out and benefit the entire community?
Well, in short, it's really strengthening our community. These are our community members who are underserved or under-resourced. And a lot of us at the Living Room were those children or were those women. And what we see is when you are able to achieve or overcome certain barriers, you can focus on the things that we focus on, which is our education, improving our health, and permanent housing. It really does start with that housing piece. And in terms of a benefit for our community, it makes us stronger, it makes us safer, it makes us kinder. And we also know that, especially with children in that 0 to 5 space, if we can mitigate that damage that's done often through trauma, then we are really giving them a shot at improved resilience and healthier outcomes for the entire family and therefore our community.
Yeah, so really stabilizing the most vulnerable women and children. They're really lifting up the whole community.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, because we were talking about this actually earlier today. They are the strongest women. We talk about this in terms of, like, we carry things every day, all of us. We all have things going on in our lives. And the women that we're serving do as well, but they're carrying that along with their trauma or not having sleep or being in unsafe situations. And they are incredible and incredibly strong beings. And it's so important for us to remember that and recognize that.
Yeah, I'm sure you come across some incredible stories. I'd love to get into some of those in a bit, but let's talk about housing insecurity. A lot of people see that as an economic issue, right? People just can't afford to live here or live someplace that's expensive. It's unaffordable for a lot of people. But you see it also as a health issue. Can you explain about that?
Definitely. Actually, the federal government back in, don't quote me, but I think it was in 22, declared homelessness as a health crisis. And this is not a sentiment recognized by us initially, but really as a community, I think, and nationally, we recognize homelessness as a health crisis, because when you are experiencing trauma, or you haven't had enough sleep, or you're sleeping outside, or you're in a congregate environment, your health is absolutely affected. We also have a lot of folks who experienced some kind of health problem, like a stroke or heart attack, and that led to experiencing homelessness, because then they're not able to work, and then the support that they have that follows that doesn't necessarily take the place of the income that they had. And so all of us here in Sonoma County are not that far away from an issue like that happening due to health. So health can beget that situation, but also if you are priced out of your housing in Sonoma County, it is definitely going to affect your health. They're just inextricably linked, and it's mental health and physical health together. We do not separate.
Yeah, I can really see that, how it could cause health issues for people that are unstably housed.
Stress.
Indeed. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Well, can you share an example of how the living room has had to pivot to meet a critical gap in services?
Yes. We actually just had a strategic planning process, and one of the words that came out over and over again was agility. And we've said this a lot. COVID actually really illuminated the agility of the living room that I think has been there since the beginning. And what that means is we are not married to any specific format or program. We are a reflection of the need of the time, which is now. So when COVID happened, we had our Cleveland campus where 80 women, children, and pets would come every day. We also had partner agencies coming there. We provided food, showers, laundry. And when the onset of COVID happened, it just shut down overnight. And what we did was we began giving services over the phone, handing out supplies to folks in the parking lot. They could come and get food through the windows. And when that stopped working, shut the windows and started delivering food. And we created a different format. And over those 2 years, we were listening to women who did not have a safe space. And so in 22, it took us 2 years. We found a secondary location, raised the money for it, and opened our drop-in center, because that was the number one need, was a safe place to be able to go inside. And so with that agility, which is really, it starts with a mindset, and then a commitment to being able to serve that mission, you have almost the humility to break down some format that we might have had for decades that no longer serves us, and then to be able to create something to meet that need in the current time.
Yeah, it sounds like you're listening to what the need is out there, and then pivoting to meet that
Oh
need.
yeah, our feedback loop is pretty strong.
Well, that's great. What would Sonoma County look like without organizations like the Living Room?
I was thinking about that, and COVID really kind of shed light on that possibility. And when we were not able to host women and children in this congregate format, it became quite dangerous for them because then there was not that safe space for them to physically come inside. We could help them over the phone or be able to give them supplies, but not a place where they could actually come inside. And I think without us, women with children and their pets do not have that option. It makes it more dangerous for them, and it makes it more dangerous for this community. One of our case managers was actually pointing out that, what women need from us often, absolutely a warm meal, but they need a place to rest where you can actually sleep and you do not have fear of someone, invading your space or safety. And when you are able to get that sleep, even if it's for 30 minutes, it makes a massive difference to your mindset and to your health.
Yeah. Yeah. You're a refuge. You're a shelter. You're a place where people can really get their life back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. Well, can you share some stories, some people that you've helped, some impacts that you've made in the community?
Yeah, definitely. I was also talking to our staff about this, and over and over again, I reflect on the fact that our community and our service does not end. It's really circular in that you might be coming to us on your hardest day, but you are absolutely coming on your best day too. And all of those moments in between. And you can need help and give help at the same time. And that's what I love about the living room is that we have had so many women who share their cars with other women who are sleeping outside, and then they can share space in a car, or they get housing together, or in our housing program, Mothers Helping Mothers. Our housing program also mixes generation. And so sometimes we have these lovely familial structures that are within the house, and those relationships last beyond just the time they're in our program. And I was also reflecting pretty recently on witnessing the improved health of a family coming from their car and into our housing over the period of a month. The changes that happen in a child when they know they have the same safe space to sleep in every night, and to mom who's not worrying about every night where they're going to be, she can focus on her motherhood. And being able to witness that because we work where they live is an incredible privilege. We also have a lot of volunteers who have received our services, and we have hired folks that have received our services, or maybe they came as children and have come back as a different iteration of themselves. And those are the strongest service providers because they deeply understand the experience. And there's a vernacular that is shared among people with the same lived experience. And in a minute, they know if you have it or you don't. And so there are many stories of the living room being able to be a space where they come and do the work themselves, but they don't tend to leave. They strengthen what we do because they themselves have strengthened themselves, and then sharing it with others.
That's so great to hear. They've been helped, and then they come back to help the next generation that needs it. Yeah, that's really great. Well, talk to me a little bit about your funding model, your budget, and how people can help the living room, either financially or as a volunteer.
Thank you. We have been very lucky over the past 3 decades. We've been largely privately funded. We have had some gov funding, especially from the county recently for our services at the center, and we'll continue to pursue that. We also have private donors, foundations, and then we contracted food services under St. Vincent de Paul. They were contracted by the county, and we'd like to get into that again, more income generation, because I think long-term for nonprofits, not just in Sonoma County, but I think nationally, we're going to be looking at different funding structures and funding availability from our government to support the services that we provide. And I think that future is going to be heavily reliant on income generation. And there are different models here in the county of some organizations that will provide services for a fee, and then that money goes into their nonprofit services, which I love. And we will absolutely and are actually pursuing more income generation of our own. In terms of the community, it's actually pretty simple. So there's the traditional financial investment into the work that we do. Absolutely, that will never change. But What I often say, actually, as of late, is talk about us, And, I was speaking in front of Sonoma County Forum last week, and we were having a very lively discussion. And I said, our first goal here is we want you to fall in love. We want you to fall in love with her and with what we do. And we welcome you into our community to be able to continue to spread the ability to heal, really, and to work on barriers. And so we want you to talk about us, but also looking in your own network, in your own social capital. Who do you know that might also want to invest in the work that we do? And that is really important because we're growing a larger community of support in the work that we do. So it's volunteering, donations, other kinds of investments, and really talking about the living room. One of the first steps, other than going to our website, is coming for actually go to the website and set up a tour and really come and see the work that we do. We have a lot of tours for donors, volunteers, anyone in the public that's just really interested in what we do. That kind of immersive experience allows you to viscerally feel not just the work, but her experience as well.
Yeah, well, and so it sounds like getting the word out is key, and coming on a podcast like SoCo Chat is a good place to start.
Absolutely.
Tell us what's your website?
Our website is thelivingroomsc.org.
Okay, thelivingroomsc.org. Where are you located?
We're located, our drop-in center is 1335 North Dutton, and it is a daytime drop-in center for women, children, and their pets. And then we have a Cleveland campus. That's where our food services are and our donations. We do accept in-kind donations of emergency clothing. And so our Cleveland campus, which is at 1207 Cleveland Avenue, that's where we accept in-kind donations. And it's emergency clothing and shoes that we provide at the center. And so we receive a lot of that. Our housing program, literally I think we outfitted all 13 houses on a budget of nothing. It was just donations from the community. Isn't that lovely?
Wow.
And so at times we accept furniture donations as well. And then in our kitchen, I just want to express so much love to our community because we have community members that will come and say, like, my plum tree, I have too many, I can't eat all these plums, and they give them to our kitchen. I am very, very proud of our food services because we are in a partnership with Redwood Empire Food Bank where we're rescuing food. So we're going to restaurants and to grocery stores, Windsor Unified School District, picking up their food, repurposing it, and pushing the food out the same day, also to other community partners. So we're able to feed a lot more people, and our food costs have gone down due to this food rescuing. It's been pretty incredible. So we've got our Cleveland campus and our Dutton campus.
That's great. Well, is there anything else you wanted to add?
I do. One more thing. We talk about this a lot too with our ladies and with each other. Kindness is queen. Kindness is queen, and it starts with being kind to yourself. And if I could say anything to our community, other than all of the things I've just said, it is kindness is so important. And it's so important to remember, especially now, that when we're looking at someone, we have no idea what they are experiencing and what they're carrying. And it's really important that we choose kindness. We do that with ourselves, definitely with our ladies, our volunteers, all of our stakeholders, but just to hold that in your heart and pause for a minute and remember kindness.
Well, that's a great message for today, for these times, and it's great that you are pushing that message and doing this great work. So thank you so much, Alethea, for being here, for telling us about the work, and for doing all this work that you're doing in the community.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We appreciate it. And as a thank you for being here, we'd like to give you one of our SoCo Chat coffee mugs.
Very excited
or a water bottle. And to our listeners, we'd also like to give you a chance to win a SoCo Chat coffee mug. Just answer our trivia question, and you'll be entered into our weekly drawing. As a reminder, our question today is, where was the living room first located when it started? If you know the answer, call us at 707-565-2242 or email us at publicaffairs@sonomacounty.gov. If you submit your answer to us as soon as possible, you'll have a chance to win that prize. Also, if you have a comment about this or any other segment or a suggestion for a topic for a future SoCo Chat discussion, please email us at that same address, publicaffairs@sonomacounty.gov. Thank you all, and we hope you continue to follow SoCo Chat on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, and of course, YouTube. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much, Alethea.